We are with David Payton from Clemson University. Welcome, David. Thank you for talking to me today.
Absolutely. I'll enjoy
Um,
this.
if you wouldn't mind sharing with the viewing audience, let's say that, what course or courses you teach with Clemson?
Okay, I typically teach a lot of the statistics-based or the decision-based management courses for Clemson University. Currently, I'm teaching more specifically the decision modeling classes, typically Management 3120, and in the graduate side, I'm teaching Management 8590. What we call these basically is decision modeling for management, and we use Excel quite a bit in formulating algebraic functions and uh, solver type issues into a Excel-based project.
Okay. So, prior to starting to use ExPrep, how were you structuring the class, and what were some of the pain points that you were running into?
Structuring the class was primarily just me. I'm the type of professor where I like to give feedback to my students based upon what they're doing wrong in an Excel. And a lot of our students, when they get to my class, they have either had uh, fundamentals of Excel or I would call it, just going through the structure of Excel, not really getting into some of the deep formulations and stuff like that. So when they come to my class, I get them heavily involved with not only some formulation of Excel, but I really take them into useful applications of, say, for example, pivot tables. I actually get them involved with solver. I get them involved with what if, sensitivity, and so forth. And what happened before I came across XPrep, I was doing everything by hand. Yes, it was taking hours upon hours upon hours. And I typically teach around 200 students. And sometimes with the 200 students, I would have anywhere between 6 to 8 worksheets. Now, these 6 to 8 worksheets, had unique things and formulations inside them as well. So it was very, very, very time consuming. Now, when I use XPrep today, what happens is XPrep can at least, before I can download the graded file. I can actually take a look at where the student went wrong, and I can still there's XPrep is not giving me the fulfill solver issues, but what it does is it points me in the right direction, and I can instead of trying to search and find out where the student's making a mistake, I have just real quick access, and it points me in the right direction and helps me make a feedback statement to the student.
One of the things you mentioned is something that we hear a lot of professors say is that prior to XPrep, they were grading manually, which is fine if you only have 5 cells to grade for 50, even up to 50 students. But when you are looking at more than 5 to 10 cells, and then you're looking at hundreds of students, it definitely becomes a time situation, which we sign up for as professors to teach, but the grading becomes a life of its own. So that's something that we definitely hear a lot about is the time saving aspect of our automation.
Yes.
So what has the experience been like from the students? Have you heard anything about their experience since you've been using XPrep?
One of the things, I'll give you both the positive and the negative. One of the things that students like to do I use XPrep in two different avenues, what I call two different lanes. The first lane is I use it for homework. That way the students have kind of an idea of what kind of problems and models a student can be expected to do. For example, a linear programming problem, or a network optimization problem, or even synthesization problems. What happens is they get a good idea what to look for. Now, I give them more than one opportunity. They get feedback immediately. So the students like that immediate feedback so they can go back, okay, what did I do wrong in that cell, or what am I doing wrong with this model? Uh, and that's what they would do with their homework. Now, I encourage the students to work with each other in the homework aspect. Now, when it comes to actual exams, one thing I like about ExPrep is that I can put different versions of the same test into the into ExPrep, and ExPrep will actually divvy out the different exams to different students. Actually, one of the things too is it tells me who is possibly cheating, where they got it from, and so forth. And I have students that tell me, well, I had a computer issue and I'm using my parents or something like those. I can find those out, but the sweet thing about it is it can divvy out those different exams to different students, and I can control the feedback upon after they've taken the exam.
Mhm, mhm. Awesome, awesome. I think that's something that people have found to be convenient as well, is that not only does it tell you that a student is cheating, it also tells you who they're cheating off of. We
Yes.
have had instances where someone has used an assignment of a student from a year before, and we catch it. Our system notices like, hey, you used John Smith from fall of 2022.
Yep.
And they're surprised. They're like, hey, he's not even in this class. But there's a unique coding feature that we put into each worksheet so that it identifies those individuals.
Yes, I used to. As a matter of fact, I used to have to put serials on the back of students, and I know how to put serial numbers on their placement before they sent it in. But they didn't know that, and it kind of put a fear of God in them. But
Yeah, absolutely.
it's nice that I don't have to do that anymore.
Right. So is there anything else that you would want any of your peers or anyone who might see this to know about the experience of the platform?
It does take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, just like with any software, it's not going to solve your problems right off the bat, but once you start using it more and more and more, it becomes quite convenient. Again, I have 200 students that I'm doing Excel work for, and I'm looking at anywhere between 1,200 to 1,600 worksheets. Man, it's a lifesaver. Yeah, and I like to give my students feedback. That's even bonus too. So you just once you start learning how to populate and set up the grade books, it just becomes a handy tool.
Mhm. I always like to reiterate with professors that that first semester is going to be the toughest because we have to work through all of the customizations because we build it based on what works for you. And we have to get out all the kinks, and then you have to get familiar, like you said. And so after that first semester, it's pretty smooth sailing after that. But have that first semester we have to work through, so we have to kind of navigate those waters. But once you get through that first semester, it's hard to go without it again.
Yeah, it's not going to solve every detail. For example, the thing it is I use Solver. I use the Solver side quite a bit, a little bit more than probably most people do. But there's like one thing I've enjoyed is that getting with you, the team that is at XPrep, you and Brandon getting with you guys and saying, okay, what do you think we should do here? How can we solve this? You've been really engaging with it.
All right, thank you so much. Those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.